Hey everybody, I'm Jemaine, aka The Terrible Australian at supermarcy.com, and welcome to my video review of director Steven Spielberg's latest film, the adaptation of the classic Roald Dahl novel, the BFG. So let's get right into it. Now, I remember reading the book when I was, or at least read the book when I was a kid, and I also saw the animated film that actually was made, I think, in the late 80s or early 90s as well. So that's kind of my familiarity with the BFG. So I'm very familiar with this story and like what happens and everything like that. So, but I was really interested to see how this story would work in a live action form. But when I sort of found out that Steven Spielberg was going to direct it, I just was immediately excited. And because Spielberg is my all-time favorite director, and he's just, other than maybe a small very 2 or 3 films, I pretty much either love or enjoy his work. So I thought he would be a really good fit for the BFG, because it just would be the idea of Spielberg and Roald Dahl like together is just seems like magic to me. And having seen the film, like, I don't think it's a great film by any means. I would say it's minus Spielberg, but as a wise man once said, a minor Spielberg film would be another director's masterpiece. But that being said, though, I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good adaptation of the book, and as well as, because it had that, it sort of captured the essence of the book really well, and visually the film just looks absolutely stunning. Like, the combination of, you know, CGI, motion capture and whatnot, just looked great. And also just the combination, and particularly when it sort of came to the character of the BFG himself, who in the film is played by Oscar-winning actor Mark Rylance, who just does a fantastic job playing the character, and he is the BFG. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, he was perfectly cast in this role, and he's just terrific. But I just found it so fascinating that it's sort of a combination of, like, with his performance and how he looks in the film, sort of a combination of CGI, motion capture, but his body and all that sort of all CGI, but the face, like, it is Mark Ryland's face. So, but, you know, they kind of, you know, morphed it in a way so that it would look similar to the illustration of the BFG in Roald Dahl's original book. So in that regard, the look of the BFG is so faithfully done, but it's really Mark Rylance who gives the character the soul, and he's just wonderful in the role. But Rylance isn't the only cast member who stands out. Our newcomer Ruby Barnhill, who plays the role of Sophie, sort of our main character, she is absolutely wonderful as well. I haven't seen her in anything prior to this film, and I believe this might be her film debut, but she is absolutely wonderful. She brings sort of, you know, a childlike wonder, but also sort of maturity to her performance as well. And pretty much every scene between her and Mark Rylance is just so beautifully done, and she just is terrific. But you kind of expect that, because Spielberg has always had a great knack for directing child actors, and once again, he does a great job here with her. And I think she's definitely going to go on to do, definitely have a future as an actress. She's just so wonderful. And visually, the film, like I said, it looks spectacular. There's so many great visual moments. And the thing what I love about Spielberg as a director is that he just knows how to create magic on screen. Whether it's like a big set piece, action set piece, or a little moment, or just characters talking, or just little moments here and there, he just knows how to do them so well, and you just can't help but feel the magic on screen. And this film has a lot of that as well. And also, the other giants, sort of like the big bad villains of the film, one led by Jemaine Clement. Jemaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords. He does a pretty good job as well in the role. And also the supporting cast were all pretty solid as well. Like I said, the score by John Williams, once again, is terrific. Visual effects, fantastic. And it's just a really solid, strong adaptation of the book. And I really enjoyed it a lot. And also, I got to give a shout out to Penelope Wilton, who plays the Queen. I thought she was wonderful as well, and she's definitely one of the standout of the films as well. In terms of negatives, I do feel like the film's a bit long in the tooth. Like, it's a nearly 2-hour film, but I feel like it could have easily been trimmed by maybe 10-15 minutes, because the first two halves I did feel did have a bit of pacing issues, because it did feel a bit sort of slow paced when compared to the third act, which was very sort of much more faster paced and sort of more on the go compared to the first two halves. But I suppose it's more of, I guess, you know, Spielberg sort of slowly bringing us into this world of the Giants world, and sort of us sort of soaking that up, so we can just sort of, you know, so we can take it all in as viewers. And in that regard, he did pretty well. But I think the pacing kind of suffers because of that a little bit, and also kind of like since the story wise, even though it is based on the book and it's for pretty much most part pretty faithful to the book, the story just feels like, at least when you kind of watch it on the big screen, like, I think with the film having sort of a very sort of simple premise like this one, it kind of didn't really need to be a 2-hour film. Like, it could easily have been a 90 to 100 minute film, or maybe 105 minutes, you know, because it would have been, you know, even more engaging and even more focused. But I was still pretty engaged and entertained nonetheless. But I think it would have just been would have been better paced as a film. And also, I forgot to mention other positives about the film. Also, very well directed by Spielberg. I mean, he's a master at this, so it's no I mean, he's always a master. And I will say this, I'm not really a fan of fart jokes. They just don't work for me. But I will say this, though. There's a fart gag in this film that is actually pretty well done, and I will admit it actually did make me giggle and smile at the same time, because it's so wonderfully done. And it's weird kind of seeing a fart joke in a Steven Spielberg film, but leave it to somebody like Spielberg to actually make a joke that I find really annoying and repulsive actually kind of funny. So kudos to you, Spielberg. So overall, like I said, it's not one of Spielberg's best films, but it's still a really enjoyable family film that really sort of captures the essence of Roald Dahl's work really well. And I think if you enjoy Roald Dahl and Spielberg, this is definitely check this out for sure, because it's a lot of fun. And also got to shout out to the script. Like, even though I feel like the script could have been tightened a little bit more in some spots, but I think for most part, it's a pretty solid, well-written script that's faithful to the book. And Melissa Matheson, who wrote the late great Melissa Matheson, who wrote the script, also wrote E.T. as well. So in that department, I thought she did well screenwriting-wise. So overall, I really enjoyed the BFG. Like I said, not one of Spielberg's best, but it's still a lot of fun and a very charming and sweet film as well. So if I had to give this film a rating, I give it about 3.5. So yep, that's the end of my video review of the BFG. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. See you everyone. Bye.